After months of prematurely defending not only the Russian buildup outside of Ukraine, but trying to persuade his millions of viewers to not care about what happens in Ukraine, to question why it is that they might be predisposed to think that their interests might not align with Vladimir Putin. Tucker Carlson is now, in the wake of the full-on invasion, sort of admitting that Putin might be doing something bad. Take a look.
What's happening in Ukraine, whatever its scale, and it's not totally clear right now, but whatever it is, it's a tragedy because war always is a tragedy, and the closer you get to it, the more horrifying it seems. It's the ugliest thing that men do ever. Vladimir Putin started this war, so whatever the context of the decision that he made, he did it. He fired the first shots. He is to blame for what we're seeing tonight in Ukraine.
Okay, well, assuming that's all we watch, he seems like a responsible broadcaster who understands the stakes, understands how to assign blame. But wait, actually, it almost seems as if there have been a few times in recent history where he sort of seemed to be on the wrong side of this. Thankfully, some of those moments have been summed up in a great montage by a user on Twitter, so let's take a look at that.
Why would we take Ukraine's side? Why wouldn't we on Russia's side? I'm totally confused. So much. Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? I should say, for the record, I'm totally opposed to these sanctions, and I don't think that we should be at war with Russia. And I think we should probably take the side of Russia if we have to choose between Russia and Ukraine. That is my view. But Ukraine and Russia. And I'm serious. Like, why do I care?
Tell you why.
And why shouldn't I root for Russia, which I am?
Because those of us who are watching,
no one on this show is rooting for Putin or rooting for the Ukrainians, for that matter. We're always rooting for peace, for real.
So like the ultimate, like, who is to say who is good and who is bad? That is the best case scenario for Tucker Carlson. He also enthusiastically shrieked at people multiple times that he is in fact taking Russia's side against Ukraine. So perhaps a little bit of backpedal right now. People are really horrified at what they're seeing, but I would not assume that that's gonna last. Once things settle down, everything sort of becomes normalized. People get used to everything. I think he is going to enthusiastically resume the same sort of insane talking points that we had in the weeks leading up to the invasion.
Well, so why the turnaround? Well, Tucker Carlson basically A/B tests his audience. What that means is he puts his finger to the wind and he's like, which way they're going? Oh, they don't like black people. Okay, we're gonna focus on that. Immigrants, they hate immigrants. We're gonna focus a lot on that. Let me call them dirty, see if people get mad or not. Their immigrants are dirty. Oh no, they didn't get mad, they really liked it. Okay, I'm gonna do that again, right? And you see him doing it on air, it's amazing. And then that's why sometimes there'll be a drastic change. Because he was testing A, now he's testing B. And so why does he make those changes? Well, the whole shtick about white authoritarian leaders in Europe was playing really well. Viktor Orban in Hungary and Vladimir Putin in Russia, and they're so strong and they're not woke, and none of that nonsense, okay? And Vladimir Putin never questioned, anything about race. I mean, so he's good. Gee, I wonder why I mentioned race in the middle of this. People, I put out the tweet, we talked about it on yesterday's show, and mentioning about how the conservatives are supporting him, not just because he's an authoritarian leader, but because he's a white authoritarian leader. And conservatives pretend to be outraged, as if, but I didn't mention race, Tucker Carlson mentioned race. I'm pointing out that Tucker Carlson mentioned race. And he made a reference to Asians as well in that spiel. He's like, Putin never ate dogs. Never ate dogs? Bringing in Asian stereotypes, like horrible ones out of nowhere, right? Because he's doing a dog whistle. And well, literally on that one. And his audience before was eating it up. But today, Newsmax put out a statement questioning his loyalty to America. Now that's a right-wing organization going further right than him. And now I think that as people see brave Ukrainians fighting back against Russia, and they see the Klitschkos who are heavyweight champions now, Vitaly's the mayor of Ukraine, and they see all of these heroic, I'm gonna keep it real, all of these heroic white men fighting against the Russians, all of a sudden, being Putin's best friend is not playing well for Tucker Carlson. So all of a sudden, we've got a 180 degree. Why the Ukrainians? Who cares about the Ukrainians? Who cares about them? The Russians, I'm on the side of the Russians. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, the Ukrainians are also white. Ooh. And now I could see them. It's not theoretical anymore. There's videos everywhere of their courage. And now you're gonna be on Putin's side? All of a sudden, oh no, Putin, I never heard it. Who's Putin? Well, Tucker, the proof is in the Putin. We just showed you the videos. And by the way, there was a lot more where that came from. We've shown you that in the past as well, including yesterday.
Let's be real, okay? Tucker Carlson would love to be Vladimir Putin, right? Vladimir Putin is this hyper-capitalist oligarch in a country that works for his other hyper-capitalist oligarch friends, right? He's homophobic, he's transphobic. What about that would Tucker Carlson not like? And that I think really speaks to the reality about a lot of these right wingers where, they're torn between thinking America is the greatest country in the world and loving every war that we engage in, and also wanting to literally be this hyper-capitalist oligarch that can, write policy and invade countries with, one word basically. And so of course, right? Of course, Tucker Carlson was talking about Putin in that way, right? And of course, if I had to guess, right, a lot of Tucker Carlson's friends and a lot of other sort of wealthy individuals in the United States probably sympathize with Putin from the perspective of being a fellow capitalist, and are really just because they're running in a lot of ways, a lot of American capitalists kind of run the same game. They're just a bit more subtle and they don't have quite the control over the government that Putin does. But that doesn't mean that they don't want that level of control here in the United States.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Ben, because yesterday, Tommy Tuberville, one of the dumbest men in Congress, Republican from Alabama, huge Trump fan, came out and said, oh yeah, this is what happens when communist Russia invades and we don't want that kind of socialism here in America. Okay, Russia hasn't been communist in a long time. I have to remind that because we have right-wing viewers too. They don't know anything. So you have to explain to them slowly what facts are. And Putin is the last man on earth who would be a socialist. Putin is uber capitalist. Like, I take all of the private property, okay? And all my oligarch friends who are all billionaires, as long as they agree with me, they take all of your property and we keep it to ourselves and only ourselves. In a sense, he set up like a libertarian paradise there. How's that working out? Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.